Associate head coach at Southwestern. I wore this to remind myself today. And I've got a little bit of experience in the Bundesliga here. I coached Stuttgart for 4 years in the early 2000s, from 2005, Heinz 2, 6 and 7. So it's been 10 years since I've been gone, but I've been following the Bundesliga since that time to see what's going on and making sure I'm on top of things when I come over. But today I'm going to talk about kickoff. And kickoff in the German Football League is an area I think that gets missed a lot because we don't have a lot of practice time for it, do we? And I kind of want to give you a few ideas of how, when we played in the Bundesliga, how we did it, and maybe you can take it from there and kind of add it to what you guys can do to make sure that kickoff coverage can be better. I think it's the one thing that's kind of lacking in our league here is that because we don't spend a lot of time on it, we don't do a great job with it. I see the good teams, Braunschweig, teams like that, cover kicks very well for a couple of reasons. One, they've got a lot of players, don't they? So they can actually practice it. The other thing is they've got good players. If there's one area that you can see a disparity between good players, good teams, and poor teams, is in the cover units and special teams. Why? Because you're in space all the time, aren't you? Good athletes play very well in space. So if you're a team that doesn't have a lot of good athletes, make sure you put your best athletes on there, but teach them to get good angles so that they understand where they need to put the ball all the time. And I'll go through that as I go with our philosophies on kickoff and how we progress in certain areas. With the Scorpions, what we were able to do is not practice the kickoff very much, but utilize the techniques we had in our defense to fit the kickoff coverage. I'll give you an example of that right now, is that one of the things we did in our pass coverage with Stuttgart is with our linebackers, we would spot drop and drop to a point on the field, and when the ball was thrown to a short guy and he'd take off, we would learn to attack that at good angles to where when we got to the point of attack, we could really hit the gas pedal and go. And what that helped us on kickoff is we used those exact same techniques on the kickoff as we did on covering the short pass. We did the exact same techniques as we did in the short pass as we did covering punts. So we were able to actually not practice kickoff, yet we had practice kickoff because of our 7-on-7 work, right? We learned to attack the short ball just like we were attacking a kickoff. So it worked out really well for us, but I think the thing that really helped out was the philosophy of our team as we went forward. And I think when I come to Germany, or the Germans come to visit us in the United States, it's really funny because the Scorpions from that time, we had a saying, we had an identity on our team, and that was, we don't have brakes in our car. We only have gas pedals, okay? So Figrid, who played guard for us, he gets off the plane, he says, hey coach, no brakes, just gas pedals. That's the first thing he says to me. This was 15 years ago. These guys still have it in their heads that we do not stop our feet at the point of attack. When we get to the point of attack, whether it's a blocker, whether it's a tackle, we hit the gas pedal and go. We're like Michael Schumacher, right? Go. And so that's really good stuff for us. But it carries over from our offensive unit to our defensive unit, and then it carries over to special teams really well. Well, we took that same attitude going into Southwestern. When we play defense, when we play offense, both units have that same attitude that we do when we cover kickoffs, and the same attitude we have with the Scorpions. We're a running team on offense, kind of like we used to be with the Scorpions. It was go, go, go. On defense, we are a gas pedal defense. We don't break down. How many guys teach your guys to break down? Good. We never do. We get angles, and when we get there, it's go. It's go. Not stop. You guys drive cars a lot around here, right? We drive. What happens when you go into a corner and you go into a corner really fast, right? And you're going to take a left-hand turn, and you hit the brakes, and you're braking while you're turning. You're out of control, aren't you? How about if you go into the corner at an easy speed, and you start turning, and you hit the accelerator? What do? You're under control. You're taking the turn under control. It's the same thing in football. When you turn, accelerate, don't brake. Your equilibrium is going to go boo, 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 and you're not going to be able to do anything. That's the whole concept of what we do. Hit corners. Okay, fundamentals of kickoff in general. When kicking off, when we're covering the kick, and when we're tackling the ball. These are the things we focus on big time. And when I show film, I'll cover these really good for you and kind of give you an idea of what we do. When we get to the point of the kickoff, as we're kicking off and the kicker's kicking the ball, there's a few things we want to always do. One is, all 10 guys want to be right at the line at the kickoff, right? We want to time that so that when the ball's being kicked, we're right at the line, as close as we can be without being offsides. We want our shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, and the main thing at that point is we want to already be at full speed. How many times do you see a kicker kick, and the guys are waiting for him to kick, and then they go? A lot, right? Not us. When the ball's kicked, our shoulders are here, we're already full speed. That's going to make a difference of at least 5 yards. You know, when you see the Olympics and they're running the 100-meter dash, they're coming out of a standstill, but they're not waiting for anything. They're gone. This is what we're doing. It's a 100-meter dash for us. So we're getting off the ball really well. Now, when it comes to covering the kick, we have certain assignments in terms of our lane, within our lanes, and then we have different zones in our covered area. The avoidance zone is simple in that on the way down to the kick, we're going to avoid blocks the whole way down while staying in our lane. If there's a blocker coming, we're going to try to avoid them so we don't slow down, they don't stop our momentum downfield, but we want to have lane integrity, meaning we want to stay in the lane that we're assigned at the same time we're avoiding. Now that takes us to the collision zone. What does that mean, collision zone? It's exactly what it says it is, but when you get to, say, 15 yards from the ball and the ball's behind, it could be 10 to 15, now you stop avoiding blockers. Now that's the time you go right through their nose. To where if I got a blocker coming to me, if I avoid him, he's just going to push me to the side and that's going to create a lane, isn't it? Now if I go right through his nose, I'm going to be able to get separation, and now I can go right or left to the ball. And I won't take myself out of the play by doing that. So within 10 to 15 yards, you start thinking, I'm going to start colliding with people. It's a good attitude to take, and now you're going to be able to double gap everything and get to it. The other thing that's an advantage there is that you're in a full speed run, right? He's probably waiting for you. Who should win that battle? Well, you should. You should run right through him. And we practice that every day, or not every day, but a lot. So, and then leveraging the ball. Coach Kriesel's been here, and he talks about how much we are an inside-out team, right? As much as possible. We like to do that, but it goes back to that drill I was saying. One of the things we talk to our guys when we're covering something, we're covering like this in our lane. If this ball's caught here, it's inside of him, he's going to keep the ball inside. He's not going to let it get outside. He's going to keep it inside. So they're going to come up to the ball basically like this. And when they get to it, they're going to hit the gas pedal and run through. So basically, he's going to push the ball to him. He's going to push the ball to him. It's kind of like linebackers, right? When you have stack linebackers, you're going to push the ball to the next linebacker. It's the exact same concept as I was talking about. So what happens is he's going to push the ball there. He comes here. And hopefully he's going to be in position to run through and make a tackle. There might be a time where he can fake here and go right down the middle of them, right? Well, that's okay because we got guys here and here who are going to go there. And once he starts doing this and he's got them contained, we learn to fold back into it and cover it up. And as a result of that, that's how we do it. So this is, again, this is nothing different than, say, we had 4 linebackers dropping, they caught a short pass, and here we come. Choom, choom, choom. We're coming after it. And we hit the gas pedal at the point of attack. Now, this is our base kick coverage here, and we have our lane assignments, as you can see on here. The number 5s inside, these are our tough guys that love to run, and they don't care what happens to their bodies. They will go down. Their initial aiming points are at the goalpost, as you can see. And then about 4 to 5 yards outside of that will be our 4s in their initial lane, and right about just outside the hash marks will be our number 3s. And then we have contained players as number 1. Our number 2 players are, we call that roll to the post. As you can see, they're kind of rolling into the goalpost. These guys are like stack linebackers or safeties, lane safeties, who are going to go down, find where the ball's kicked, and basically roll behind everybody else to it and go directly to the ball. Now, these guys are assigned to make sure that you turn the ball into your other guy. So they're working in tandem. Make sure the ball doesn't get outside of me, and we're playing together where I'm turning the ball back into you. And they're similar to being safeties, but we don't have safeties. Our kicker is kind of the only safety we have. Okay? We want to make sure that these guys are the end result of everything. So they fold in naturally. Everything's an easy fold so that we can back people up, and they should be right there for the tackle. Quite often, these guys are never blocked, because these guys usually take up the blockers as we go along here. Kind of works out nicely to us. So those are the techniques of what we do right there, and I'll get into them on film so you can actually see how we do it. So once again, I'll go back to this now. At the point of the kickoff, we are going to be square to the line of scrimmage, at the line of scrimmage in full speed. On the way down, I just showed you our lane assignments that we do. It doesn't even have to be that way for you guys. You can have the number 1s fold, you can have whoever. We actually do that. We mix them up every now and then. But our whole concepts are the same. The avoidance zone is all the way down there until you get near the ball. You're going to avoid people and try to stay in your lane so you don't lose ground. You stay full speed. Then you've got your collision zone, which I went over. It's where we want to go right through the nose of a blocker, knock him on his ass, and be able to get off double gap. It's a good way to go. And now that leaves the kicker coverage in the end. And let's go over the kicker coverage. Kicker coverage is simple, where for us, as you can see, I have him sliding both ways. He'll go about the 45-yard line of the other team and start looking for where the ball is going. So if the ball starts here and he starts coming this way, he'll run over. Ooh, how did I do that? There we go. He'll run over with him, but he's got one job to do, and that is when here's our kicker, here's our return man. If he's coming in here like this, he's got to take an inside-out angle, and at the point of attack, he must make him turn to the center of the field. He cannot let the guy get to the sideline. How many times have you seen returns up the sideline for touchdowns? Quite a bit. But we need to make sure that off that inside-out angle, all he needs to do, he doesn't have to make the tackle. He's just got to turn back like that. And take the momentum away from the return man's return, and at the same time turning him into all your buddies who are trailing. So return guys who are chasing, if I got a cover guy here chasing this guy, and he sees him running to the sideline, and he sees the kicker coming, he's got to anticipate that the kicker's going to turn him back so he can be right there for the tackle, instead of chasing him like a rabbit over here and then oh shoot, where's he going? He knows that the kicker's going to turn it back. So these are fundamentals of coverage that we should have down with no problem in that for that. Okay, some of our kickoff strategies are pretty simple too. For us, if we've got a dangerous return man, we will never, ever, ever kick it to him. Why would you kick it to a guy if you have a choice not to, right? We had a running back at Stuttgart named Mark Carell. Anybody remember Mark Carell? He was really good. If I were playing us, there is no way in the world I would ever kick it to that guy, because he's probably in the end zone doing this half the time. Okay? We have an option on kickoff. Unlike when we're playing defense, they can hand the ball off to him and we can't say, no, you can't do that. But on kickoff, we can say, we're not going to do that. You're not going to touch the ball, Mark. Do not kick the ball to threats, because they're very good in space, aren't they? It's a tough guy to cover. The other way we kick is to kill schemes. Like if we're watching film and we see they do a really good job of returning to the right, kick the ball where they can't get to the right. Or you might want to kick the ball right into it so everybody collapses into it. It muddles the whole thing. These are the choices we need to make based on how well we cover. So make sure those are two good ways of, in terms of kickoff strategies, who you kick off, how deep you kick off. Some of the times we have good kickers where we can actually tell them kick this way or kick away. Yeah, well, I would say don't kick the ball to Mark Carell. We had one kicker 2 years ago. Oh, for sure the ball would go right to him. I mean, you could count on it. We'd say, never kick the ball in the middle of the field, right? Right down the middle every time. It's unbelievable. So we have to find a kicker that actually kicks where he's aiming. Okay? Game prep. No, the game prep, we kind of make it an individual thing too, because if you're number 5 on our kickoff team, that's your job. So if I'm a number 5 on the kickoff team and I'm going into the game and we've got film because we got great huddle now, right? I'm going to understand what their kickoff scheme is coming back, and I'm going to know where my block is going to come from. So when I'm running down and they're getting into their return scheme, I already know where the guy who's going to block me is coming from. I know where it's coming from, and I know what yard line he's going to try to get me on. So that when they do it, I'm ready for it, right? Now, if you don't pay attention and you say, oh, I'm just on the kickoff team and I don't care, I'm just going to run down there with my eyes closed, you're going to get nailed, and you deserve it. But most kickoff teams, even in college, will have 2 returns at the most. So it's pretty easy to identify where they're going if within your position. And so that light bulb should go on in your head and say, oh, he's coming for me right there, and I'm going to sit there and I know he's coming, so when he's ready to get me, I'm ready for it. That is a strategy, and that's what every player should know as they go forward. And what are keys to the direction of the kick? Or kickoff return, not of the kick. So if I'm a 4 or 5, I might have a key beforehand, and I know that if that fullback back there starts going in that direction, I know that the ball is following that guy. So that will help me get into adjust my lane as I go. As a kickoff cover guy, I need to know these things. And it doesn't take a lot of time or work. All it takes is a little film work and say, oh, okay, I know where they're going. So it's very important for us to do that within our game plan every week. Personnel is a big issue for kickoff coverage. And I say the best thing you want to do is have your best players that can play in space. Defensive backs, linebackers, that sort of thing, right? You might have D-ends and D-linemen that are good in space. I don't know. But put your best players there. The most physical players you have also. You want to be physical on kickoff. So essentially what it turns out to be is, hey, put your best players out there. Why? Because it's better for teams to start on their 20 than their 40. I saw it all the time when I was here in Germany. Teams would get out to the 40 all the time. Right? Put them on the 20. The percentages of them scoring from the 20 are way lower than from the 40, believe me. And it's good not to let them score touchdowns. Touchdowns are bad on defense. We want to make sure that we get the ball and we score touchdowns on them. So by putting them low, it's going to make a big deal. It also is a big deal for attitude, isn't it? You get 10 guys going down there screaming and getting after people. That other team's saying, oh shit, is this going to be the way it's going to be all day? Well, when they played us, I tell you what, that's what it was. Our guys went after the ball. And it doesn't take a lot to do that. It takes a lot of, if you want to be a football player, you want to be on a kickoff team. If you don't want to be on a kickoff team, you might not be a football player. And finally on this, the kickoff team is a reflection of your team's identity. And I already said that. What was our identity at Stuttgart? It was no brakes, just gas pedals. And that carried over from offense to defense to special teams. So when it came to kickoff, that was a big deal. We had no brakes in our cars. It was all gas pedals. Good teams and players run under control and then establish great tackling angle. And then at the point of attack, we hit the gas pedal. And we run through people, not to people. When you run to people, you run up to a guy, you stop. We run up to the guy and we start. That's the difference. And we do it offensively, we do it defensively, and we do it special teams wise. It's nothing different. And all our drills from defense carry over to the special teams. So we don't have to practice it that much, but we do. Now the drills we have time to do in our practices because we really get 4 good practices a week. Wouldn't that be great? We get 2 here, right? 2 good practices a week. So we have to manage our time accordingly. But that allows us to do little drills, like you remember our avoidance zone, right? We practice avoiding people. How do we do that? I'm going to use Coach Kriesel as an example here. So I'm running down at you guys covering a kick. Now Coach Kriesel is going to be in a couple different places. He may be at an inside angle coming at me right here. Now I know that already, right? Because I watch film and I know when he's going to come from me and I know what yard line. So when I'm ready for it, what my drill is to go to his butt side. And now he's got to flip his hips, right? And so when I beat him to the butt side, now I don't really need to lose stride because I can time it because I know he's coming or whatever. Of course, he may get good at that and everything, so all I need to do then is, as he's coming, is go to the butt side and he's going to react and I'm just straight up the field. You know, these are things you're going to have to learn as an athlete how to do and make sure you do that. Then again, when we get to if he's coming from the side again and we get to the collision zone, which is the ball's behind him, right? We're close and I can't avoid anymore. He's coming to the side and I'm going to go right through his nose and try to knock him on his ass. Now I can go there or there to the ball, right? That's exactly what we're doing. That's all there is to it. And we actually drill that. Now you don't have to drill it, but they have to understand it. If you've got these concepts as far as your team goes to where you're accelerating at the point of attack as opposed to absorbing, it's going to work out really well. But I think the big thing for a German team is to get that kind of attitude going in your team. Gas pedals, throw the brakes out, and you're gonna go. It's going to take you a long way in terms of where you're going. Okay, so let's see what we got here. That's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Let's take a look at some of this and see how we're doing on that. Yes, it's working. And we've got a pretty good kicker here, and we strategize where we're dropping the ball quite a bit for the end zone because we feel like we've got good cover guys too. We got very good speed and everything else, so we can really attack at the point of attack. Okay, so right here we're kicking the ball. Here's our roll the post guys now, right? Remember I said they were our 2s before? They're not our 2s right now. We've got a 2 and a 1 rolling to the post. So we've changed it up a little bit. But the ball's being kicked. Look at everybody's shoulders. We're almost at full speed already, aren't we? We're not waiting for the ball to be kicked and say, oh, let's go. We're already running. So we just made up a good 5 yards on covering the kick right away. And as we're going down, you can see we are full speed and doing some avoiding. And as you saw right there, our first guy through, did he stop his feet? and break down? No, he didn't, but we don't want him to. He just made that guy stop his momentum, cut back, and our guys folded right into him, and we get a lot of guys to the ball. So as opposed to stopping our feet, we're getting back down there, and our first point of contact is inside the 20. He gets it outside the 20, but at the same time, we're in very good shape to start our drive, aren't we? Now this year we had some different aiming points at games, but they generally stay the same. The thing is to get integrity on your lanes, and once the ball is declared, you start keeping the leverage on the ball, keeping it on your inside shoulder, or keeping it where he is. So I want to go back a little bit here, right there. So we're covering the ball. We're about, in this case, we're about 3 to 4 yards apart. And he's going to catch the ball right here. So he's going to go down at this angle, and at the point of attack, he's going to start wanting to go inside out and get his head outside to where he's going to turn the guy back in like that to his next guy who's going to do the same thing. The next guy who should do the same thing. These guys are going to come from here and fold under like this, and we're going to be in very good shape for that. Huddle great. It's very good for our league over here now, isn't it? You don't have to wait half a week to get film, and it's so awesome. But we're pretty good at this stuff when it comes to covering kicks. Our special teams are pretty good. There it is again. Not bad, right? So what's he got to do this week in practice? He's going to start timing it better, doesn't he? He's a yard deeper than everybody else. These guys are like right on. Like synchronized swimming. They're pretty good. Run, run, run. Hey, look who caught up, though. He did a good job. So look at that. He does a good job because when he makes contact with these guys, right there, the ball is in that collision zone now, isn't it? He's going to hit into these guys to where he can double gap it now and get to the ball. He shouldn't be being blocked right now. I don't know what he's doing. He's a senior, too. He should have been off of these guys. He should be somewhere up here avoiding. But they double teamed him for some reason. We do a pretty good job there. And some of these kicks are against the wind, so it's okay. Now I want to go back to athletes and everything. We started our program, 4 or 5 years ago now. Our first year, we played all freshmen the whole time. And guess how good our kickoff team was? It wasn't good at all. We never kicked the ball deep our first year because we knew we couldn't cover it. Sophomore year, we got a little better. We got stronger. Our core got better. Our balance got better. Everything else. Junior year got even better. Their senior year, when we played a lot of seniors, we kicked the ball off without worry because our guys had great balance at that point. They were men essentially instead of kids coming out of high school, which is a big difference, and that plays into that being able to play in space. This group here is a young group, but they're very good at this stuff. I'm going to go back to this again here. Now, I would like to see this, just an example here as you're talking to guys. We're going to watch, where'd number 50 go? Right there. See if I can go slow on this. So number 50's got this guy right in front of him, right? But he's eyeing someone else up, isn't he? Number 50 should knock this guy down on the way down so that he can't go block somebody else. He's in his lane, right? See that? And on the way through, he won't even lose stride as he's going. If he just knocks him on his ass there, he won't get that piece on that guy. There's no reason number 52 should even fall down here. But he should never have been blocked because he should have been on, that other guy should have been on his ass. And 50 wouldn't have lost stride at all. Nice job by those guys. This is good unit for us because this year we got plenty of practice at it too, because when you score you get to kick off, right? Same guy, isn't it? Is this the same kickoff? It's got to be. No wonder it looked exactly the same. Here's number 11. Let's see where he gets this time. He's good. He's right on. I bet they call him offside because he's too good. These guys are slow. A couple of them are folders. I hate to show this one because this is basically shitty blocking. But at the same time, we get to the point out where this was good strategy by us because according to their kickoff return, we kicked it in a good spot where we didn't let them get to their wall. And what number is that guy right here? He doesn't let him get inside. He does a good job of making sure he turns out to our naked guy. Very good job. Nice coverage. Before I go on here, is there anything that I haven't made clear so far? Is everything cool as far as where we're at? I think, again, the big deal is, at this point where we're going forward, is be full speed at the time of the kick, right? Know your zones. Avoid, collide. That's real strong. Understand your lane. Understand where your blocks are coming from. If your guys know these things, you should be okay. And sad as it sounds, the better you are as a team, the better you're going to be in these cover units. So we watched our conference champion yesterday, who's defending national champion. They played another really good defensive team. Both defenses were great. Guess where Mary Hardin-Baylor, our team, won the game? On a punt return and an interception return. They are great at these things right here. That made the difference between two great teams, is they have the ability to do better in these ways because they're better in space than the other team is. It's just the way it is. But you've got to minimize that. When we played Mary Hardin-Baylor, their athletes were better than ours, but we were able to minimize it with our punt game. We weren't going to let them return the punt. He returned one though, didn't he? The punter punted right at him, of course, and on a line drive. Do not punt the ball to that guy, right? Line drive right at him. 30 yards?
Yeah, and then he returned it for like 40, but that
40?
was the only return he had the whole game.
Yeah, that's the only one he got the whole game. So we almost did it. And our net punting was probably in the 35 at least, right? Yeah, so we didn't lose much there, but we weren't going to let them beat us on their special teams. And our punter had a different idea.
Wow, 8 probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thanks. This is our second kicker here. He can kick pretty well too.
What's the job of your left number 1?
Usually contain. On left here, he's our folder this time. Remember I said our bases, our 2s go in. On this group, I think our 1 and 2 on this side are our folders. So they're on the same side they're folding in. So our number 3 here is our contain guy. And these guys are just going to find the ball and roll to it. And he's our fastest kid on the team, so he's a good guy to have pulled in there. And this guy's a pretty good tackler too. So we did a good job of getting our athletes where they need to go. Okay, number 1 saw the ball. Actually, number 1, he sees the wall setting up over here. And so see him take that turn here, right here? He says, oh, you're coming this way. And he's in good position. and we do a great job of folding under because we attacked at the point of attack and made them cut back on us. So that was pretty cool. Okay, number 47 makes a lot of tackles for us here. He was going to cut butt side, and the guy overdid it, and he grabs him, and he gets off the grab, and he makes the tackle. He led our team in tackles on kickoffs, probably, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, 47. He's pretty good at it. Yeah. Now, he's not a starter for us on defense, but he's one of those guys that's very good in space, and he's very physical. He probably will be a starter at some point because he's good at those things. I think it's the same one. We do that every now. For whatever reason, he had two of them. Let's see if we have a different kickoff coverage. But as you can see, we've got 6 on the right side of the ball and 4 on this side. We're probably kicking over here. There it is. We knew that screwed their whole kickoff coverage up. That's not a good idea by that guy. His blocking's going to the left, he's going to the right. I don't think this is going to work. You really don't see anybody breaking down, do you? So I'll run through. Once your outside arm gets attacked or threatened, you hit the gas pedal and go. Very smart play. Yep. Every now and then you will. You're not supposed to. That's that one. So, in a nutshell, it's a simple concept. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but you guys need to understand. It helps when you can, but we can't. We don't have time. So, try to establish these concepts in your team identity and your defense's identity so you can just carry over from your defense to your special teams. And if you don't have this in your defense, you probably need to put it in terms of that identity. Attack, attack, attack. Because if you're stopping and waiting for people, you're gonna run over you. You gotta go after people. And this is a great tone setter because if you're running through people at the point of attack on a kickoff, it'll carry over to your defense also. And I think it's a good way in the German Football League of being able to be a good kickoff cover team without having to practice it much. That's the hard thing. And that's what we did at Stuttgart. We were very good at it for 2 reasons. We had decent players, right? And then at the same time, we were able to take our defensive philosophy and work it right in here. So try to get as many D-backs and linebackers as you can on that know how to tackle, know how to leverage the ball, and get them going. That's not a place for guys to rest. It's a big open field play, so make sure they want to be on it. Cool? So I think that in about, Coach Kriesel's coming back with another session, and then I'm going to come back with red zone defense after that. So we'll get into that too. And we'll cover some of these same concepts that we're doing there. Because what I'll do in the red zone defense is I'll kind of show it from how we evolved from Stuttgart to Southwestern. You know, we're a man-to-man team at Southwestern, right? We were a zone team at Southwestern. I think you guys want to understand how that defense worked with zone a little bit, right? We can show you that, so that's cool. We're good, I think, huh? Yeah, I can only talk about kickoff for so long.
Yeah.
Any questions? Good.